Let me turn my microphone on. What is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints? Beautiful, blasphemous bastards. Yeah, I'm going to try to be a little more consistent with this. We'll see. I won't be able to stream every day. I don't plan on streaming every day. But, you know, if I feel like I have something to talk about, then I'll talk about it. And, yeah, I really want to put together a good show. So I'm going to be, like, working on that moving forward. Like, you know, little things that I can improve at and, you know, adding programs as we go. Because I'm still at the bare minimum here, just pretty much streaming capabilities. But I really want to get back to like maybe editing some videos. You know, I'd gotten really burned out on editing videos, but I feel I'd gotten pretty good at it. And I think that whether this channel remains my main channel or not, that I want to get back to it. So how are y'all doing? And this is more like, you know, the last couple streams have been more like what I expected when I returned. I think that first stream kind of threw me off that so many people, especially like being in the middle of the day, were around to greet me back. And then, you know, like I went away again for like a month. But that was like, you know, I was really trying to figure out a rebrand, and, you know, I was hoping to like skip the bud in a moment when I might have been able to purchase expensive programming, and it just didn't turn out happening. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed, but it'll happen when it's supposed to. But I do kind of miss like editing videos, and there's different, you know, editing videos, you can express yourself in a completely different manner than streaming and doing off the cuff shit. And but I don't know. I'd like to get back into doing some debates, and, you know, I promise you guys, whether you're here catching me live or catching these things on the replays, that I want to, that I'm pretty much like the same, right? Like I'm still pretty much the raging atheist, just minus the rage. Like I'm an atheist. I don't believe in any God. I had this like weird nervous breakdown moment. And, you know, like it's kind of weird because my dad took that moment to try to bring me back to Christianity. And, you know, that was weird because it just kind of showed, it was a moment that really showed me that my dad just hasn't been listening to me at all for like a decade. And it, you know, the first thing I'm going to start out with today is like the culmination of all of that, because my dad disowned me today due to my politics. And once again, like I still haven't figured out this keyframe situation, which it doesn't seem to be too bad on the playback. I'm not getting any lag or anything, but it is the situation that I got to figure out what's going on with it. So hopefully that doesn't happen, especially today. I do plan on looking at a couple things. As I asked the question, like, are Republicans planning on going after a woman's right to vote? Because I think they might be. And, you know, that, you know, I don't want to lose focus that what we are seeing is American fascism, but American Christian nationalism is tied to that fascism, and that's gonna be connected to this question: is the GOP gonna go after a woman's right to vote? And I think it's the 13th Amendment that they would have to overturn. But yeah, thank you, Trusty Ape. I see Marty's here. Anybody else that's gonna join? I'm gonna try to pay more attention to the side chat than before. I think that I was always kind of like really sucked at that. And I'm going to try to improve on that. Yeah, like my dad, so he didn't like any pushback at all, and he said I was being mean to him, that I'm mean to people, and I don't make room for other people's beliefs, and I wouldn't, and it's not true what he says. I think I do make room for other people's beliefs, but I will not make room for fascist beliefs. And just because you don't understand that you are a fascist doesn't mean you're not a fascist. And I've played kitty gloves with my dad for a long time. there's been so many like comments, like he bashes liberals on a daily fucking basis, right? Like my dad's Facebook page is your typical right-wing Trumper's Facebook page. So for him to like flip out on me for me being me and essentially doing what he does but from a truthful other side, is just hypocritical to its fucking core. And I hold back from commenting on my dad's posts because we made an agreement a long time ago that I wouldn't do that anymore. Me and my brother both kind of like really attacked him at one point when he first really started to reveal that he'd become this like fucking obnoxious ass hardcore MAGA Republican. And I don't think that I really went at him too hard. I just was like, dude, like my dad literally brought his transgender hatred onto my page. And he like got triggered by several of my posts, and I posted about it. I'm like, my dad's triggered about me today. And my memes are the same as usual. And then one of my friends here in Battle Creek, because he didn't believe that Donald Trump had said 15 years ago San Francisco was a great place to live. One of my friends, because he told me to prove it, and I'm like, no, it would be easy to prove it, but no. For one, I was at work, and use Google, dude. Like fucking look up your own shit. Don't just trust this orange buffoon. Look up your own shit. You shouldn't take your fucking oldest son to tell you that. Stop being a fucking idiot. Like you are better than how you've been. You voted against your granddaughter. All of your granddaughters. You have 3 of them. You voted against every single fucking one of them. And I'm tired of playing kitty gloves with them. But I wasn't even that bad. And that post, I guess, was the final draw. Because after he saw that, he posted on my timeline. I didn't see it till this morning that he's done with me. And I'm like, fine, be done with me. Because fascists aren't family. They're fascists. So yeah, that's the state of America that we live in, and fuck it. He's it's just so obnoxious. So obnoxious. I guess, Donald Trump's more important to him than having a relationship with his child or with his granddaughter. And that's sad. I feel sorry for him. Because he probably doesn't have too much longer left. Hopefully it'll be a good 20 years more. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys. What's up, Spooky? Yeah, it is fucked up, and he basically accused me of being mean, and I'm like, and I put it on Facebook today, like, don't ever let any Trumper, no matter who they are, accuse you of being mean. Tell them to kick some fucking rocks. Like, just tell them to kick rocks. Like, seriously, you fucking hypocrite, shut the fuck up. You're a hypocrite. You're not only a hypocrite, you're a hypocritical fascist, and that's the worst kind of hypocrite. I'm sorry they don't want to hear it. I'm sorry they don't want to hear it. But it's true. I, like millions of Americans in my generation, and I'm assuming in generations that have followed since, probably not the newest generation, at least during this Trump era, we were asked the question in school, like, or at least the thought experiment, what would you do if you had been in Nazi Germany? Would you have supported the Nazis? I have made my stance very clear in action and consistency. Unfortunately, it seems like half of America has failed that question, and most of them don't even realize it. And that's the saddest fucking thing in the world. But sad shouldn't mean complacent, because it's dangerous. We are in a very dangerous place. So yeah, I got a couple things to look at today. And I probably could talk about more important things concerning Donald Trump, but I figure these are important enough. So I got 2 things to look at. The first one's shorter. The second one is a bit longer. This first one is, probably the thing that I'm least knowledgeable on. I don't know much about the Fed. I got somebody calling me. Just a second. I don't know who that is. We'll let voicemail get it, I guess. It looks like my voicemail's already got it, so they can tell me who they are. Maybe I should have actually. Hopefully it's not anything important. And I don't know why my phone is on silent. Hopefully it wasn't anything important. So I don't know much about the Fed, but we are facing a crisis. Donald Trump knows that the economic disaster is incoming, and he really wants his own Fed to kind of manipulate his way through the first part of it, I think. He's not going to be able to manipulate his way through all of it, but I think he feels if he can give people lower interest rates, then at least they'll bear, at least his base might bear with the fucking pain that's going to come. But it would be a disaster. But like I said, this first one here is not like what I'm most knowledgeable on. And the second one is the most alarming to me personally. But we're gonna start here. So let's go to here.
All right, breaking overnight, in an unprecedented move, President Trump announced he is firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook over allegations of mortgage fraud. This is the first time a president has fired a Fed governor in the central bank's 100.
All right, hopefully you guys can hear that. I kind of adjusted some things, so hopefully you guys can hear that, and it's not as low for you as it is in my headphones. So, thank you, Mrs. Smokey Saint. So hopefully it's nice and loud enough for you guys, but I did change some settings, so hopefully you can hear it. Now, so what's happening here is Donald Trump has fired the Fed governor, Lisa Cook, and this is where I'm not the most knowledgeable on, because as far as I understand, the Fed is independent of the executive, even though the executive appoints the Fed. I think it's traditionally presidents stay away from the Fed, but I'm not sure if that's law or that's tradition. Now, I think when it comes to our government, tradition is important, especially when you're talking about like constitutionalist Republicans, like Federal Society fucking backed Republicans, right? Like that should matter. Tradition should fucking matter. But I think that if it's not law, that they don't give a fuck about tradition and never have. So I'm not. I do know like presidents have fucked with the Fed before, and it's always ended in disaster. It's always ended in runaway inflation. That's why they raise interest rates, is to combat inflation. So for Donald Trump, for any president to want to control the interest rates through the Fed is very, very, very problematic. And in my opinion, is probably a constitutional crisis. And if we had a functioning body of government, and I'll even put out there, had not the Democrats wasted their political clout on a suspect impeachment. Now, I, for one, think that Donald Trump should have been impeached, because I do think that what he did with Ukraine, and especially what he did during January 6th, is worthy of impeachment. But you had to know, like, Republicans were never going to accept that. You needed, like, surefire proof, and you're getting, or surefire fucking impeachable shit, right? And you're getting that in this administration. Now, unfortunately, we have no power to impeach, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, even if we did, I worry that, like, we have burned that political capital already. Like, no matter what happens, no matter what this dictator does, they're just going to be like, see, they're doing it again, but this is something like if they actually cared about their political philosophy, or any Democratic president tried to ever fucking do this, or put military in red city states streets, it'd be a civil war. But they don't have integrity or political philosophy. They only have a vast need to see the world burn. So yeah, like I said, this is the one I'm not the most knowledgeable about, but this should scare everybody. Because, I was in a room yesterday and I was talking about how, like right now I work in a grocery store. It was like this transitional job, this job that I just grabbed. So I had a job until I found a better job. And it turned out like I really like this job. So I'm kind of like sticking around way longer than I should. I don't get paid enough. I work in the back. I'm operating forklifts and pallet jacks and all of that shit. I'm not like out in the grocery store. I probably make a little bit more than a lot of people in the grocery store, but still not enough. But I really love the job. I can listen. I can have an earbud in. The day fucking flies by. I'm starting at 4 a.m. I'm done by 12:30. The only thing I don't like is like I have to go to bed so early. But I'm working in a grocery store right now, so I'm like seeing firsthand what's happening inside of grocery stores right now. And I'm sure that you see it every time you go to the grocery store. It seems like there's less shit. There's holes, more and more, and like. That was happening during COVID, but we're a long way from COVID. Like, what the fuck is going on? And that's tariffs. And that's like, we can't get fucking anything in. Anything. And everything, all of the prices are skyrocketing. All of them. Like, I think the only thing that isn't going up is fucking eggs right now. Like, it's fucking crazy. Right? And it's really unfortunate that we focus for so long on eggs, because now that they're not going up, like that seems to be the marker that the Trumpers use to judge the economy. It's like fucked up, right? Your coffee just went up 40%, but your eggs are about the same, so be happy, bitch, I guess, is their argument. But let's continue.
111-year history. Cook has not been charged with any crime. This has huge implications in politics, law, and the economy. CNN's Matt Egan here to explain it all. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, John. Look, we are living through this historic clash between a norm-shattering president and a central bank that fiercely protects its independence. And all sides agree that there's so much at stake here when it comes to the economy, the cost of living, and the future of the Fed itself. So the latest drama is the fact that the president announced last night that he has fired Lisa Cook, who is a Biden-nominated governor at the Fed. She's the first black woman on the Fed board. Now, Trump officials say this is about mortgage fraud, alleged mortgage fraud. But Democrats, economists, and former Fed officials that I'm in touch with, they fear that this is an attack on the institution of the Fed itself. And this is something that may ultimately get settled by the courts. Now, in this Truth Social post last night, the president said about Cook, he says he does not have confidence in her integrity due to, quote, deceitful and potentially criminal conduct. And he said the conduct at issue exhibits the sort of gross negligence in financial transactions that calls into question your competence and trustworthiness as a financial regulator. Now, a CNN review of mortgage documents does show that before Cook was nominated, that she did take out mortgages for 2 properties that were both listed as her primary residence. But we don't know whether or not this was something that was done intentionally. We don't know why this happened. And we also know.
And, I really don't give a fuck about that. Like, Donald Trump has made like $3.5 billion since he's become president. Like, and he's worried about her mortgages. Like, for fuck's sake, when will Republicans come, like just open their fucking eyes and see this man's utter hypocrisy? But they like the hypocrisy because they like the action. They want dictatorship. They're sheep. They need to be led. They need to be herded by dogs with sharp teeth to scare the fucking shit out of them because they're sheeple. And, Hillary Clinton did them way too much justice in 2016, calling them a basket of deplorables. They're worse than that. And they have done nothing but show that they are worse than that. Nothing. But show it on a daily basis. People that we have loved our entire lives and have known to be decent human beings our entire lives have now become some of the shittiest fucking people on the planet. Like, what the fuck happened to them overnight? And I addressed this in my stream yesterday. I truly believe this, that we allowed them to escape, to not be comfortable with us talking our politics, to let them get away with that. And that allowed this like alt-right pipeline fucking meme war to stream into their fucking brains and corrupt their thinking. I honestly believe that. Because I seen it happen like live. It was when I first started streaming, and like Gamersgate and fucking like the neo-Nazis won that meme war. It's fucked up what we're living in, man. It's fucked up.
Oh, that Cook has not been charged here. Now, Cook is striking a very defiant stance. She put out a statement through her lawyer where she said President Trump purported to fire me for cause when no cause exists under the law. He has no authority to do so, and I will not resign. And her lawyer went on to strongly hint at legal action here. Now, former Fed officials, like I said, are worried that this is an attack on the Fed. And they say that the Fed is supposed to be independent from politics for a good reason, right? Because if presidents called the shots on interest rates, of course they would want low mortgage rates and low credit card rates. But sometimes, as you know, John, you need higher rates to fight inflation. And history shows that when politicians meddle with central banks, it can end badly. Most recently with Turkey's Erdogan. He installed a loyalist to lead that central bank. They had runaway inflation shortly thereafter. So again, there is so much at stake here.
And again, if she's removed and the president gets to appoint a new person.
And look at that. So if I'm Philip Jefferson and I'm Michael Barr, I'm pretty fucking worried right now, right? Like, you motherfuckers is next. You motherfuckers is next. God damn, what are we living in? All right, let's go back up here. Like I said, that's the thing I'm least knowledgeable about. I'm definitely going to be kind of looking into that and trying to gain knowledge on that, because I think that's vital. I think that's something that we should know about. We should know how to combat any argumentation that they're going to throw at us when it comes to the Fed. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be focusing on myself in my spare time when I have spare time, is trying to really go into that hardcore. And this, what I'm about to get into right now, this is the main gist of the show today. This is mainly what I want to talk about today. I saw this, I think, yesterday or maybe the day before. And this is deeply concerning. Now, this is a new church that has popped up in the D.C. area, I do believe. It's somewhere in Moscow. I'm not sure. Maybe I could be wrong that it's near D.C., but I believe it is. This is Pete Hegseth's. I can't say the douchebag's name right. Never could. Pete Hegseth's church, and I think several Trump administration people go, and I believe that these people have the ear of the administration right now. I think that this is part of Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation's baby plan for Christian nationalism. And these are the Christian nationalists that I believe are really leading that momentum right now. And I don't think that we can forget this aspect of Trumpism, especially as I, myself, am going to be really focusing on the fascist aspect of Trumpism. Because the fascist aspect is the most dangerous, but this is part of that fascist aspect. And that is the Christian nationalism that is just overtaking the country. Now, I would say my dad used to, I mean, he raised us to be religious. We just hardly ever went to church. But since me and my brothers have left over the last 25 years, he has become a really hardcore Southern Baptist and probably a Christian nationalist. I don't know where he stands on a lot of the issues when it comes to fundamentalist Christianity. He kind of knows better than to try to talk to me about that. But he doesn't know better than to try to convert me to it. I don't think he has any respect for my knowledge of the Bible, and I don't think any Christian nationalist would ever have any respect for any atheist knowledge of the Bible, even though we would probably have a lot more than they do. But this is a very dangerous aspect of the society that I'm seeing, because this Christian nationalism, even I've talked about it several times on my channel, it is really dominant, and it's dominant in a lot of young white males especially, but even young white women. And it's growing more dominant even though we're in an era where there's so much information at your access. It shouldn't be. Like I said, there's new numbers out that show, like, I think it's either 42% or 48%. I think it's 42% of America believe that dinosaurs and man existed together. Kent Hovind should be very fucking proud of himself for all the great work he's done in manipulating and corrupting American society. As he was one of many, but one of the earlier people really pushing that agenda. So yeah, let's get into this. This is scary. I think that the GOP, especially if they can rig the election and keep absolute power, are going to come for women's right to vote. I think they're going to come for women's right to vote, just like they came for women's reproduction rights, and I think they're not going to be done there. They're going for divorce. They don't want women to be able to divorce their husbands, abusive or no. And then I think they're going to go farther, and they're going to repeal civil rights. And I think the Stephen Millers of the GOP right now would really like to go after, would really like the South to rise again. I'll put it that way. So let's get into this.
What makes this community here in Moscow so unique?
You can't make good omelets with rotten eggs. It doesn't matter how good the recipe is. It doesn't matter how good the kitchen is. It doesn't matter how good the cook is. If people aren't walking with God, then it's going to come out bad.
What would have happened if your kids didn't want to follow you?
So this was something, again, that my dad learned from the Apostle Paul, but there were 4 of us growing up in my dad's household, and we all knew that if any one of us walked away from the faith, my dad would step down from ministry.
So you just living as a practicing Christian isn't enough for you?
It's not enough, no.
What does that look like, though, in America ruled by Christ, which is what you want?
Yeah. Well, the most noticeable things right out of the gate would be things that aren't going on anymore. We wouldn't have Clown World. We wouldn't have drag queen story hours. We wouldn't have pride parades. We wouldn't have abortion on demand. Those things would be.
So again, I truly believe that these people have the ears of power. So you hear it right from the gate, the just outright bigotry, and they have the ears of power. And I don't put it past this extreme GOP to go after everything. Now I don't know how they would do constitutional amendments. They would need a lot more seats. And that could be like another reason behind their redistricting plans. Or, Trump asserts his authoritarian fist. But I truly think they're going after women's right to vote. They're going after women's right to divorce. They're going to be going after civil rights. They really want to bring the country back to a Christian theocracy. And I'm going to bet that with the force of the American government behind them, that even most moderate Christians will be more than glad to go along. Hopefully I'm wrong about that. Hopefully people have more integrity than I give them credit for. But outside of our side of the aisle, I don't see too much. I don't see too much of that anymore. Not even on our side of the aisle. I mean, most of our politicians are weak, feckle pieces of shit human beings. So right there, like, they're going to be coming after, gay people's right to marriage now. They've already pretty much halted any progress we had for trans rights issues in America. Any progress that, like, they have really pushed us back farther than I thought that they could. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The way that they've captured the culture. And I do think that it's starting to turn on them now. But I don't think that even if the population or the culture that they've captured turns on them, that's going to stop them unless we stop them. I think it's going to take us, and not us, the Democrats, the Democratic Party, or us, the leftists. It's going to take us, the people, to stop them.
Gone. And that would be, boy, this is different. So the thing that a lot of the people in the middle, let's call them normies, people who are they're not particularly theological, and they're not hard left either. They're just, I just want to live a normal life. Is that so wrong? The last 5 years has really unsettled them a great deal, because clown world is not a livable place to bring up kids. It's just not. And a lot of the recoil or the reaction that has happened, and a lot of the reason we're getting the attention we're getting, is people are hungry for answers that don't just whitewash it, or that don't sugarcoat it. And as I'm fond of saying, it's Christ or chaos. And people say, yeah, looking around, that seems to be the case. And
so you're seeing a big expansion.
It seems Christ or chaos, and looking around, it seems to be the case. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't see chaos until I see Trump, who is like Jesus's nominee, I guess, according to people like this. Excuse me, y'all. I'm just getting over like a crazy fucking sickness. But like, I only see chaos in America now. Have we had chaos in America pre-Trump? Sure. But like, the chaos that I'm seeing now trumps all of that, pun intended. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Chaos or Christ? It seems like it is the stupid ass Christians of this country that has elected this buffoon that has put us into the chaos that we're heading into. And where is like the consistency from all of these fucking douchebags? Like we literally see Donald Trump deteriorating away before our very eyes. Like the dude is dying. Like, I don't see how anybody doesn't see it. Like, he's fucking dying. And the fucked up thing is, like, I think that JD Vance knew that. It figured that out a long time ago. Like, if this dude runs again, like, this dude is extremely unhealthy and he's not going to make it. So if I can get in and become VP, like, I don't put that past JD Vance at all. But like, this dude is like literally dying in front of our eyes. And none of them are talking any of the bullshit they talked about Joe Biden. Like, where is your consistency at? I thought you cared about a president growing old and feeble before your very eyes. I thought you cared about that type of shit, because this dude is fucking dying. Like, he's going to be dead in like 6 months to a year. Like, and you don't need doctors coming on and telling you that, like, that is happening now. Like, you can see it with your eyes. Like, the dude is like the analogy somebody put the other day, and it sticks true. He's like a dude that escaped the mental ward of an elderly home, right? Like when you're in an elderly home and you get to that stage when you're just batshit crazy and you start stabbing the fucking attendants every time they come in with your fork, or every time they try to bring your meal, they put you in that ward. That's the ward it looks like Donald Trump just escaped. And crickets. Where's your consistency, you fucking Christians? You Christian nationalist Nazis? And if he was like Jesus' elect, as you guys seem to think, like Jesus himself pushed that bullet into that firefighter that day, right? Why is he about to fucking die, man? Like, what the fuck are they pumping into his hand that he's got to like cake makeup on it so you don't see the bruise? Well, I mean, you have plenty of doctors telling you what they're pumping into it right now, and it's not good. And I'm not like sitting here celebrating that. Like, I find it unfortunate that we have to deal with this buffoon until that happens.
Membership in these last few years, really since COVID, right?
Yes, since 2019, our church community here has doubled in size. During the height of COVID, it was like a refugee column, people moving here, chased here by blue state governors, chased here by COVID restrictions, chased here by pastors and elders who flaked on them, who closed their church down, and people. A lot of Christians were discovering that they did not have the Christian leadership that they thought they had. They thought shepherds were supposed to protect the sheep, and when the pressure came, it didn't happen.
Would you define yourself as a Christian nationalist?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And I'm going to ascertain that what he's talking about there is like when all the Christians started going out and started talking their open homophobia and they're just like xenophobia, and all of the compassionate people out there that like were like, wait, what the fuck are you doing, you hateful bastards, and really came crashing down upon them. I'm pretty sure that that's what he's talking about. Like their pastors didn't have their backs, but they're gonna have their backs. Like you go out and you be as awful as you fucking can be to these reprobates, and we're gonna have your back. And don't, and when we say we're going to have your back, we mean it, because we literally have the ears of the fucking White House.
And how do you define that?
Well, mostly because I much prefer it to the names I usually get called.
How do you define that? Is it you are a Christian and you want this nation to be a Christian nation?
Yeah, I'm a Christian, and I'm an American who loves this country. So put those two things together. And since I believe that my Christianity is not something that is to be believed by me behind my eyes and between my ears. It's a public truth.
What do you say to people of different faiths all over the world who don't believe that and have a different God, a different understanding of life and how we all came here?
Yeah, I would say let's have a Bible study. Let's talk about it, depending on what they've heard.
All right, so I have to address Lo in the side chat. Lo, I don't know if that's slander, then this is the place for it. I don't know how the fuck you brought yourself to marry a pedophile, but until Josh proves he's not Josh, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Like I don't know what Smokey expected ever from me. I think what I think, and I know what I know, and I'm surprised that he shows his fucking face and still tries to pretend he's not Josh.
I would want to assure them that the fact that we differ over who God is or differ over ultimate reality does not give me warrant to persecute you. So we're going to talk about this because the Christian faith does not advance by the sword. The Christian faith advances by preaching, the sword of the Spirit, planting churches, preaching, declaring, etc. So I'd want to visit with them. I'd want to imitate what the Apostle Paul did all through the book of Acts. He comes to Athens and he preaches Christ and the resurrection to a city full of idolaters, but he doesn't mount a military campaign.
What would you say to historic scholars who say America was not founded as a Christian nation?
I would have fun with them.
Don't you think if the framers had the same vision as you, that this is a Christian nation, that they would have...
How would he have fun with them? He has really no grounds to stand on that this is a Christian nation. It never was and never has been. Christians like to think it is because Christians are delusional. It's part of their Christianity. Like you wouldn't think that it was possible to come back and be a zombie man unless you were fucking delusional.
They made that explicit in the Constitution and not have put in the Establishment Clause and the prohibition of religious tests for office holders, that they would have made it explicit in the documents.
The federal government may not have a Church of the United States. Like the Church of England, the Church of Denmark is the Lutheran Church. They flat prohibited a Church of the United States. And they flat prohibited religious tests for office at the federal level.
Thomas Jefferson, for his part, was a big proponent of religious liberty. Right. It was one of his...
The Chevy Equinox is more than an SUV. It's your safety check.
Whoa.
And your weekend getaway.
Big accomplishments. Yeah. It's on his gravestone that he had this religious liberty law passed in Virginia.
Yeah.
So what would you say?
All right, so this isn't really the part that I'm interested in, but we're going to watch it. We're going to watch this whole interview. But really just like no grounds to stand on. You know, separation of church and state was established in the Federalist Papers, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but it was established early in American history. Separation of church and state is just established American. I don't want to say law because I don't think it's quite law, but it's as close to law as you can be. And, you know, I am finding myself asking, like, hard questions, right? Like, questions that I never really thought that I'd ask. Because I really think we need to look at freedom of religion. Like, maybe change it to, like, freedom of worship with stipulations, right? Like, you can worship whatever God you want, but the moment, like, it starts to become, like, this cult thing that you want to take over the whole nation, like, you're cut off. Like, no more. You're out. I think we really need to look at that, and I'm not, like, being jokey about it. I think that we see the harm that religion can do to a society here, especially I don't want to say what I was about to say, so I won't.
They say to historic scholars who would point to that and say, the framers of this country did not mean for this to be a Christian nation. They meant for it to be a nation where people can exercise their religion freely, no matter what that religion is.
But you ain't
First,
wrong.
I would invite these historic scholars in the most friendly way possible to have a public debate on the subject. I think I don't want to... King Ahab in the Old Testament says, let not him who puts on his armor boast like him who takes it off. But I think I would do okay. And I think I would do okay because I'd be able to point to the primary documents as well.
How would a Muslim
and what's up,
or
Native?
a Mormon
haven't seen you in
or
a while.
even a
I haven't
Catholic
been around in a while.
fit into your version of a Christian nation?
Yeah. So one of the reasons we have such problems with assimilating Muslims and all these different Hindus and
I mean, do we though? Do we have problems assimilating Muslims and Hindus or and whatever? You know, like, and what about me, like a former Christian now, like agnostic, Taoist, philosophical Buddhist? Like, you know, do I not fit in your Christian nation? Like, and yeah, here we go. We're gonna, oh boy, and you have to like keep in the back of your mind, right? Like he knows he's on CNN. Right, he's not even on Fox News, and even if he was on Fox News or even, you know, them really shitty conservative sites, ONN and whatnot, he'd still not give you 100% of everything, right? Like he's gonna give you the glossy version of everything. So you got to have that in your mind as you see how he just gives no fucks, and he's just gonna say it all, right?
Is that there are so many of them, right? So if we had a Christian republic and a Muslim came to Disneyland with his family, we have no problems. But when they fill up Dearborn, Michigan, that's just not. You can. It says in Amos 3:3, can two walk together except they be agreed? You cannot put alien worldviews together cheek by jowl and have peace.
I mean, bullshit. I've lived in Michigan my entire life. I've never worried about Dearborn, Michigan. In fact, if you go to Dearborn, Michigan, it's a really great place to visit. I've been there several times. Great place. You're very welcome to go. No matter if you're white, if you're Christian, no matter what you fucking are, very welcome in Dearborn. You know, I have my issues with Dearborn because I think they mistakenly harmed Kamala Harris here in Michigan. And I don't blame them for it, really. I understand why. But I think that, like, and now I know for a fact because I've talked to a few of my friends in Dearborn that they regret it because, you know, Trump is just so much worse. And it really might, at least here in Michigan, it would have probably turned the tide had they not. I can't quite remember. It's not that they didn't vote. They didn't vote for Kamala, right? Like it was. I can't remember exactly what they did, but it was a protest.
Right. So basically, I think a lot of the religious turmoil that we have, the clashes that we would have,
like I said, I've been to Dearborn several times. You know, anybody can go to Dearborn. It's not this dangerous place to go. It's actually a very wonderful place to go. And this douchebag needs to stop talking about my state. This douchebag needs to keep my state out his mouth.
Could be addressed by a sane immigration policy, not a policy that tries to regulate what people can say or do in their religious convictions while here.
So the foundation for you is you believe this is a Christian nation,
right,
despite the debate from historic scholars.
Exactly. But notice that when the Muslim says to me, who are you to say? I can say, all right, we have to live together. Who are you to say which way it should go? And then the secularist comes in and says, let's do it this way. And Muslim and I would both turn to him and say, and who are you to say?
So you feel like we can't have a functioning society?
Yeah, we can't.
Without.
And look at our society currently, not functioning.
Do you believe that secular society is basically a religion of its own that is the antithesis of your
Correct.
Christianity?
Secularism is a religious faith.
No, it ain't. It is what America is and always has been, a secular nation. But it's not a religious faith. What the fuck is this dude talking about? And again, I remind you, this is like the church of our defense secretary. I think some of the Trumps have went. I think the boys have went, maybe. I don't quote me on that. I could be wrong about that. But I know other people in the administration go to this church. They have the ears of power. We know that like Trump's basically enacting Project 2025, at least in its initial stages before our very eyes. And here we have this douchebag with Trump's ear. Oh gosh, we're in trouble, y'all. We are in fucking trouble. You remember in the first term when he had that crazy white lady with the blonde hair? You know, I miss the first term Trump. I really do, because back then it was kind of funny, even though it was disastrous, and now it's just fucking terrifying.
Religious commitment. Remember what I said about if there is no God above the state is God. Mm-hmm. Well, if that's the case for the secularist, and I believe it is, and it's a religious level commitment, then who's in charge of the current secular God?
And how much is your post-millennialism?
I mean, what the fuck does that even mean? Who's in charge of your current secular God? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't think of another word to describe this guy, but manipulative douchebag. Idiot. But I don't think idiot describes him correctly, right? Like, because what he's doing is very intentional. And like I said, like with him and these people having, like, I mean, you could argue they are tapped into the most power in the entire world. We see Donald Trump's obsession with Putin, and we know what Putin has done inside Russia when it comes to gay people and minorities and, God, the atrocities in that country. The civil rights atrocities. It's horrific. And how can we not think that Trump has that plan for here? He won his presidency on trans hate. And how can he... Oh, I really don't want to say that. I really don't want to say that. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Sober knock is not a better knock. Oh, my fucking God. I want to say it, though. To be a right and proper fascist, you must have your minority groups. I'll put it that way. Sober knock is not a better knock. I've come to that determination.
Belief driving all of this.
Great deal of it, yes.
Tell our viewers about that, what that is.
Most American evangelicals are premillennial, meaning that they believe everything's falling apart and when things get really bad, the Antichrist is going to take over, and then Jesus will come again and save us from all that. But it's a pretty grim view of human history between now and the end. So that's the premillennial understanding. A postmillennialist is someone who believes that the gospel is going to be victorious in the world.
All right, 1 second, guys. And 1 second. Give me a second. Let me see what my daughter wants. And let me find my webcam. Is that it? No, that's my frame. There it is. All right, let me get it turned back on here. Excuse me. That's how interruptions into the stream should be. My daughter is learning, but yesterday was my aunt. So yeah, let's continue, because we're gonna get to like the main concern for the moment. Now, like discrimination of minorities is going to happen in implements, I believe. We see that with the immigrant, but once they really start discrimination against the minorities that are American citizens, we're going to see that implementation soon. I truly believe it. Like I said, Trump ran his campaign on trans hate. I think they've already started implementing several trans hate initiatives. I think they're coming after gay marriage. But the gist of the concern from this interview, at least what I remember from when I watched it, or at least the parts of it, I think I saw clips of it, so I went and found the full interview. My concern is they're going to immediately, or as soon as they can, I don't think they could do it before the midterms, so this is why I think they're trying so desperately to make sure they can secure these midterms. Is they want to, I think it's the 13th Amendment, repeal women's right to vote. They don't think that women should be able to vote.
The nations will, in fact, be discipled.
And you have said, I don't have a direct pipeline to Pete Hegseth.
Right.
But don't you think your influence is having an impact?
You're
right
probably
now?
right, Spooky.
So. I write books, and I don't write and publish books to launch them into the void. I want people to read them.
With Thrivent, your personal finances aren't just personal. We use money as a tool to help all.
I hate it when it takes forever to get to the skip, right? Like, I hate it. I hate that part. And I hate that there's so many fucking ads on YouTube now. And people told me, like, YouTube doesn't like ad blockers, so it's, like, just something you got to deal with. So that's what I'm running with until told otherwise. All right, well, let's get back into it. Hopefully we're not... I forget to keep asking. Hopefully we're not buffering at all. I do seem to have a keyframe issue that I got to figure out. I might have to call in some old friends that I haven't talked to in forever that can work me through it. Not hearing anything.
To
Let's
actually
go back a minute.
do something. I write books, and I don't write and publish books to launch them into the void. I want people to read them and be influenced by them. Mm-hmm. And when people read them and are influenced by them, and they're in a position to actually do something, it's gratifying. I'm happy about that.
Because for many years, decades frankly, your views were really seen as fringe.
Yes.
Now do you see
them? Not by
them?
me, not by my wife.
Not by you or your wife or your community, but
yes.
They were seen as fringe. Do you now see them becoming more mainstream?
Yes, I do. They have become...
Yeah, I agree with them. I do too.
My views on a number of things have become steadily more mainstream, and have done that without me moving at all.
You think people have come to you? They've come to you.
So basically, what has happened as the whole...
Bigots don't like being told they can't be bigots, especially in a country that they've always been allowed to be as big a bigot as they wanted to be. And that's the simple truth. That's simple human nature. And that's the truth of it. America has always been a white supremacist country. I think it was 1863, at the beginning of the Civil War. America was 90% white supremacist. I don't think it's really changed that much. The only thing that's changed is America isn't 90% white anymore, or 92% white anymore. But like of the white people, I don't think too much has changed. Well, I should take that back. It's gotten a lot better, but it's definitely still a very dominant sentiment within white society, and they don't appreciate that they had to hide it for as long as they did. 20, 30 years, 40 years, since the end of Jim Crow. But even like so we took away that ability, and then we just continue to go after their right to be a fucking bigot, right? And that's Trumpism. That's Trumpism. That's Trumpism laid raw at its core. Is they don't like that. And that's the pure and simple truth. And you're right. Sober knock is the better knock because I can see it now and I can express it now. When before, I just couldn't. I was too fucking drunk.
Zeitgeist of the official zeitgeist has moved steadily left into more and more woke territory. A number of normies, as I called them earlier, looked at where that was going and said, I don't want to go there. And so maybe we ought to give that Wilson character a second look. He sounded pretty crazy 20 years ago, but I'm rethinking that.
And what are you seeing happen in the Trump administration right now that reflects your Christian values?
The series of appointments in the federal judgeships that led to the overturning of Roe would be the central thing. If our church doesn't have a spire with a bell in it yet, but if we had the bell, that would have been, when Dobbs came down, we would have been ringing it all day.
And you want to see Obergefell?
I want to see Obergefell go the same direction. I am very pleased with the naming of the fraudulent behavior that has overseeing the squandering of trillions of dollars. One of my old jokes was that I'm opposed to chaplains praying at Congress because the Bible says not to turn a den of thieves into a house of prayer. Mm-hmm. And it's just the pillage that is going on there has been remarkable, and I'm just very gratified at the efforts of Doge and other things like that to put a spotlight on those sorts.
So one of the fundamental tenets, especially like the more fundamentalist you get within Christianity, I think Jehovah's Witnesses are a good testament to this. One of the great tenets, the more fundamentalist you get, is that if you're Christian, you should be poor. Right? So I'm not surprised that this extremist here thinks that, you know, what Doge has done and what this Trump administration has done and the great displacement of wealth, that they have taken so much wealth from the bottom of America and given it to the top of America. I am not surprised he does not think that that's Christian. Not one bit. Not one bit.
Sorts of things.
And what about banning transgender military members?
Oh, that's great.
You think that's great?
That's absolutely great.
And gender
issues.
Gender issues.
I'm, as I mentioned before the interview, I was in the submarine service, for example, and whatever idiot thought of putting women on submarines. Just
well, what would you say to a...
All right, so she was asking about like trans issues. You know, she was trying to get into where he fits on trans issues, which he was pretty clear about it. You know, yeah, he's all for, you know, the trans hate that's coming out of the Trump administration. But he took our question to like mean women. So here we go. He doesn't think women should be on submarines in the military. I mean, what are we doing? Allowing women on submarines? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, what society are we running? Oh my God.
Female submariner who's been doing the job and kicking butt doing it.
I'd say, yeah, we don't want you down here kicking butt.
Why?
Because I went to sea a couple of times. Mm-hmm. We were submerged for 2.5 months. All right. 2.5 months, let's say 130 guys in a submarine with 3 women on it. Okay, so let's put 130 horny sailors and 3 women and submerge them out in the middle of the Atlantic for 2.5 months. What could go wrong?
So
I'd say, come on.
You have a patriarchal view of how society.
Yep, boys are going to be boys, and they're going to rape them girls, and them girls are going to come off that 2.5 months pregnant as fuck. Of course. I mean, why wouldn't that happen? What the fuck are we doing as a society? He has Trump's ear.
Society should be.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, there's certain places that ought to be male-only spaces, and combat is one of them. And being closed up in a submarine is another one. And so what it boils down to is that sort of thing. Egalitarianism has been the basic platform, and feminism is a subset of egalitarianism, and you can't split the difference on this sort of thing. So if you're going to have a submarine, you have to make a decision who's going to be on it, right? And either the secular egalitarian worldview will prevail, or a patriarchal Christian worldview will prevail, or a patriarchal Muslim view. Somebody's going to have to decide.
But bottom line, do you believe men and women are equal in society?
Well, they are in our society, but they're not equal in the world.
What do you mean by that?
Because men and women are different. They're just different.
I mean, I know anybody that's watching now are going to watch on a playback, and hopefully more people will start to come back to the channel, and hopefully word will spread, like, Knox back, but he's not just back, he's not drunk, and maybe more people will come, and maybe we won't be in YouTube obscurity here on this channel. Maybe I'll have to start a new channel. And now I forgot my point, but it all comes down basically to, I'm sure none of you are surprised by this. We've talked to Matt Powell, we've talked to Smokey Saint, although I don't think Smokey has these views. But we talked to plenty of Christian nationalists, plenty of fundamental Christian nationalists. I'd be interested to see where C.J. Cox stands on this. I'm pretty sure. I think C.J. Cox might be cool with this. I hope that I'm wrong. But we talked to plenty of these people, and you guys aren't surprised at all. The only surprising thing is that these people should never be allowed the ears of the President of the United States. I'm old enough to remember Jeremiah Wright, Reverend Jeremiah Wright. I believe that was his name. Barack Obama's reverend that was too extreme for Barack Obama to have, and Barack Obama was pretty much forced just because Reverend Wright said "Goddamn America" in a sermon one day. Barack Obama was forced to no longer go to that church. He had to go to another church because they wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. I'm old enough to remember that. Right? I'm old enough to remember that.
When I said I don't want women in combat, it's not an arbitrary rule. It's not like we want the women to stand on this side of the room and the men to stand on that side. There's certain things that men do better than women do. There's certain things that women do better than the men do. And I think we should let scripture and natural revelation tell us which is which. Men are good at smashing and breaking things. They're good at fighting. And when you have this egalitarian dogma that women and men have to be the same, what happens is it's like saying everybody has to be able to dunk the basketball. If you've got an egalitarian dogma that says everyone has to be able to dunk, the only thing you're going to wind up doing is lowering the net. And so consequently, you've got firemen. One of the things that Pete Hegseth has done is instead of making a regulation concerning the women, he just said, we're back to a uniform standard of fitness for going into certain
All right, so I didn't even know about that. I didn't know that they had changed those standards. So if you're not familiar with that, they had implemented standards that made it easier for women to at least have military roles, and not too much easier. And as far as I know, like I think most of the women actually passed like the male standard, but I could be wrong. But they're definitely attempting right now. If they've already went and done that, they're definitely haven't just banned trans people from serving in the army, in the military, but they're going definitely after way fewer women in the military. And I'm surprised they haven't went after gay people in the military. Maybe they have, and I just missed it. I did it again. I've got so many buttons to push to get through these fucking ads, and like why YouTube is all ads now. I don't remember, like YouTube didn't used to be like that. You had to deal with them occasionally.
Facto is going to exclude many of the women, right?
But do you think the underlying premise was what you're saying? Women shouldn't be in combat.
Correct.
Our viewers might hear that and think he wants to turn this into a totalitarian, patriarchal society. He wants to turn America into Gilead with handmaids.
Right.
What do you say to that?
What I want to do is keep women out of submarines, which is not totalitarianism.
That's one example.
Right. It's you've got to decide which way you're going to go. So, for example, when you send Bruno into shower with the junior high girls, and you force that on them, and you arrest parents who protest at the school board meeting, I would call that totalitarian. And what I'm trying to I'm not fond of quoting Vladimir Lenin positively, but he once said, whom? Mm-hmm. Who's doing what to whom? So when someone says, oh, you're imposing on the woman who wants to be a fighter pilot or who wants to be a submariner, you're imposing on her, I say yes, but what you're doing is imposing on other people. Mm-hmm. You're imposing your worldview on other people. There's no way.
So you see it, they can't coexist.
There's no way that antithetical worldviews can exist without one imposing on the other.
But why isn't it enough to have this community here in Moscow? You've built this Christian community. Mm-hmm. Why isn't it enough to just live that way and let everyone else live the way they want?
So I really need to find out about that. Like, it sounds like he took over a town, maybe. And that wouldn't be surprising. Like, I know, like, here in Michigan, you have your NIFB to the north, your Matt Powell's. I think Matt Powell might be back. I haven't looked in on Matt Powell in a long time. He is on my Facebook and comments weirdly every once in a while. But I know it's really strong in the Grand Rapids area. And my friend Justin Coe, who's Seventh-day Adventist, comes here all the time because Seventh-day Adventism, I think Ellen White was here. It was pretty much born here, so it's very strong here, and they pretty much own Grand Rapids now. And that wasn't the case like when I was in my early 20s going to college in Grand Rapids. It was a definite party town, and now Grand Rapids has kind of changed because of the Seventh-day Adventist influence there. But it sounds like kind of similar here, like this dude, this very fundamentalist Christian nationalist movement has taken over a community in Moscow, wherever the fuck that is. I'm assuming it's close to D.C. because it's Pete Hegseth's church. It's where he goes, and it's where a lot of the Trump administration people go.
In America.
Oh, we're happy to live that way as long as they let us, right? But it's not going to shake out that way.
What do you mean?
It's got to give at some point, right? So here's an example. The logic of egalitarianism means that our daughters are going to be drafted at some point to go fight in some stupid foreign war.
So you see the slippery slope.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've lived on this slippery slope my entire life.
But other people might say, well, there's a slippery slope with your view that women's rights are just gradually taken away, for example.
Sure, but the slippery slope that I'm talking about is the one that we're actually sliding down. Right. So the thing
you don't think they're sliding down your slippery slope?
No, I don't. Now, I do believe, let's put it this way. I do believe that there have been instantiations of Christianity in politics that have gone very badly.
Like what?
Spanish Inquisition, or
Okay.
there are things like that I think, okay, that's no good, and we should never do that again. I'm an advocate of Christendom, but the first Christendom had some warts, that had some things that we don't ever want to do again. So there are slippery slopes on the Christian side of things, and I think we should guard against those things. But right now, that's not anywhere close to being our central problem.
You basically think you're David.
And that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You just took Roe v. Wade. You are literally going after women's rights left and right. You've had an impossible victory. Like, it's complete bullshit. And it's not what I remember from this interview, but we still have a bit to go, so I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more.
Chevy makes America's most dependable trucks.
Hit mute. God damn it. So obnoxious and bad.
Yeah.
So over my shoulder right here, there is a poster of the cover of a book, and it says, "It's good to be a man."
Right.
What does that mean?
It means that
And it doesn't help that I'm watching CNN.
That book is an argument that is a defensive reaction, defending young men who don't know who they are, because they have been taught their entire life that white heterosexual males are cancerous. So masculinity is tagged as toxic masculinity. If a boy acts like a boy in school, we hit him on the head with a chemical rock. We don't know how to discipline them. We don't know how to make boys stand up straight. We don't know how to make them work hard. We don't know how to train boys as boys who are going to become men. One of the books that I wrote was called Future Men, because boyhood should be aimed at manhood, and boys and girls are not the same, and so you have to train them. You have to train girls to.
All right, so we have one of those. Boys and girls are not the same. We're allowing boys not to be boys. You have to train them. Now, we've covered, what was his name? We covered the douchebag, how to train up your kids. All right, we've covered that several times on my channel. In fact, I probably started my channel with that, basically. Right. Was it Perlman? I think the douchebag's name was. Got to train them. And what he's talking about is how and we need to change the male narrative. We don't need aggressive men. That's the last thing we need. In fact, what we're seeing now with the destruction of the country is the direct result of aggressive men. He's talking about the rape culture of America and the return to it, our fight against it, our societal fight against the rape culture of America, of American women. And he doesn't like that, the fact that we're fighting that culture. And he has the president's ear. And we all know what the president thinks of women.
Be women, and you have to train boys to be men. And if you don't do that, and you spend your time attacking boys for masculine traits, they're gonna grow up to be pretty screwed up. And
right now, I mean, a lot of people believe that there's a masculinity crisis in the United States. Just when you look at the data of, school test scores, graduation rates, that kind of thing. Are you seeing
absolutely
more men be drawn to your church
yes.
right now?
Yes. One of the things that is attractive to many of the people who have come here is that we're not apologetic about the masculinity that is present here. Now, neither are we apologetic for the femininity, but then as soon as you say masculinity, femininity, people say you're stereotyping. You're saying men are like this and women are like that. And I'd say, yep, we're stereotyping, guilty.
So what does that mean? What role do you think women play in society?
Women are the kind of people that people come out of.
So you just think they're meant to have babies. That's it. They're just a vessel.
God, I wish it could come to my brain. What did Anna Kasparian get so fucking up in arms about when it came to like birthing people or something like that. This dude literally just said women are people that people come out of. He literally said it. How do any women vote for these people? How do any women want to be in that? It's sad. This is what I'm saying. Like, we really need to rethink freedom of fucking religion because it's harmful. Like, imagine the women in that.
No, it doesn't take any talent to simply reproduce biologically. The wife and mother,
I'm not saying get rid of
is
it,
the chief
we need to
executive
think about
of the
it,
home,
man. We need to
is
think hard
entrusted
about it.
with 3 or 4 or 5 eternal souls.
I'm here as a working journalist, and I'm a mom of 3.
Good for you.
Is that an issue
No,
for you?
And no, it's not automatically.
Not
an issue.
automatically.
So, like, in your view of a
All right.
Christian nation,
Yeah. We are well outside the military now, right? We're well outside of the military. Not automatically, right? So we're going to get to it now.
a Christian America, would this be acceptable
I
that I'm here
definitely
as a
agree,
working
Marty
mom in Idaho?
This guy
Sure.
is scary.
Wouldn't
be.
He is very
Okay.
scary.
Sure. Here's the
I don't want my daughter growing up in a country with people like these. And you know, the sad thing, like, my dad probably agrees with a lot of the shit that he's saying right now. It's fucking sad, man.
This is the thing.
Not just my dad. I'm picking
are-
on my dad today because my dad influenced me today. A lot of people that I know would probably be like, you know what? The Bible says it.
There's a difference between what's a sin and a crime. Okay, so in every society, there's certain things that are just, you don't let people do it. All right, it's a crime. It's against the law. Then there are things that I would advise people not to do. Pastorally, it'd be pastoral advice. It wouldn't be a law. It wouldn't be a rule. So, for example, if you have women who are domestic, talented, educated, and high-powered, and I'm related.
Let's go back just a little bit I want to get what he just said at the first part.
Women who are domestic, talented,
educated, and high-powered, then you might be able to have a job, yo. This is Handmaid's Tale. Domestic, talented, educated, and high-powered. So high-powered would mean like family connections, right? Like, you know, like you're not gonna force Ivanka to not be Ivanka, right? Educated, that's up for interpretation. Probably educated in a Christian manner, so you know your fucking place. You know what I'm saying? You know, you ain't equal to no man, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is fucking scary shit, yo. And this is not American. This is un-American as fuck. The ideal of American was justice and liberty for all. Not for you, for all. That was the ideal of America. This is as un-American as you can fucking be.
Educated and high-powered, and I'm related to a number of those, right? So my wife has written 8 or 9 books, and my daughters have written books. Both my daughters have written books. One daughter has edited an English curriculum, English lit curriculum, and they are a mother of 5 and a mother of 8, and they are full tilt domestic, and they are high energy, talented people. I would say go team go. That's wonderful. At the same time, I don't want to disparage women who want to spend their time in the home just focusing. I don't want to backhand it or disparage it at all. I want to honor that.
I want to honor that.
I want to honor that.
But you're comfortable with a working mom leaving the home and
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he ain't.
So I'm a woman sitting across from you. Do you view me as an equal?
No, he ain't. And yeah, we still have 10 minutes.
Oh, equal what? Equal person? Absolutely.
As an equal person with equal rights.
Equal person. So equal person,
Notice how he stumbles on it.
Citizenship, I would say, well, if you're a citizen, then they're.
If he truly believed in this, like this is as clean as he can make it. Like, and remember, I started with that. Like, you have to remember, he is on CNN, right? Maybe you get a little bit more if it was Fox News or ONN, but no, he's on CNN. Now, it's not MSNBC, but it's CNN, right? And he knows that. So he's just a stumbling when it comes to, like, well, equal. I mean, scary shit, bro. He's got the ear of the president.
Be equality. But yes, God has created, in the first chapter of Genesis, male and female created he them. In the image of God, he created them. So man and woman complement one another and together represent the image of God. So, and that's,
But you don't believe husband and wife are equals.
Well, I don't think they have equal roles. So, but it's like asking which is more equal, the violin or the bow? I say the violin or the bow. They're one instrument. The violin and bow is one instrument.
Right, but from what I've read about you and your interviews, you have said that you believe the wife should be submissive to the husband, and therefore that would be equal if the wife is submissive to the husband.
Well, it wouldn't be. For example, if you at CNN, you've got bosses all the way up, and you make a distinction, as you ought to, between your equality with them as a human being and the fact that they happen to have authority over you in this job. Okay, so a person can say, my boss is my equal, as human beings are concerned. We should both have a right to a fair trial. We should both have the right to.
I mean, he's essentially saying, I'm the boss, bitch. That's essentially what he's saying.
Keep and bear arms. We should both have the right to free speech. But when I go into work, he has the right to tell me what to do, and I don't have the right to tell him what to do. So
that's a dynamic you see in marriage.
Yeah, within the confines of marriage, the husband is the head, the wife is submissive, his helpmeet, and when you enter into this, it's a believing Christian man and a believing Christian woman, both of whom want that arrangement.
Is the wife the property of the husband, essentially?
No.
Okay.
No. The wife is, as Paul says in Galatians 3:28, in Christ there's neither Jew nor Greek, slave or free, male or female. So in Christ, before God, worshiping God, there's absolute equality between men and women.
But your view is, in the household, the dynamic between a husband and wife is one of where the wife is submissive to the husband. And what does that look like in practice? Can the wife say no to the husband?
Under certain circumstances, she must say no to her husband. So,
like what?
So, as I'm fond of telling our people, no human authority on earth is absolute. The civil authority is not absolute. It's a true authority, but it's not absolute. There are times when you disobey the magistrate. The authority of the church, pastors and elders, is true human authority, but it's not absolute. There are times when you should leave a church. The authority of a husband is a true authority. There are times when a wife should tell him respectfully to pound sand.
As you well know, there have been claims.
Oh, I know.
That you have minimized or sort of brushed under the rug sexual abuse and violence.
So he stumbled through all of that. Like, dude didn't say an honest word through any of that, period. And, lying's a sin. And he's more than willing to do it. But even then, it's like, there's like maybe some very few instances, like maybe if he tried to do the nasty and put it in your butt, you could leave him. But other than that, go make some sandwiches. That's what he's fucking saying. Like, it's fucking like, I shouldn't laugh because it's fucking scary.
Yes, there have been claims of that nature, and I would say, look at them go. Let them say what they say. It's simply false. So we
helped a pedophile.
Well, I conducted the marriage ceremony, but I did do that. So, but I didn't set them up. I didn't arrange for it. I didn't All the things you hear online that I did in that situation.
So why would you marry off a pedophile?
Because it was legal. He's a professing Christian. The woman he married understood his background, understood what she was getting into. I didn't arrange it. It was not an arranged marriage. It was not pressured. It was nothing like that. But basically,
I mean, maybe this is why the Trump administration likes him so much. He doesn't have any problems with pedophiles. So I'm not sure of the woman's age. I don't know how old she was. I assume she was fairly young. From what I know of this movement, they do tend to, and he's trying to deny all the accusations of how he arranged this marriage, but deny all you want, bitch. I hope they fucking get you. I really hope somebody fucking really catches you in the act doing this bullshit, especially with a fucking pedophile. Like, these are disgusting people. Disgusting fucking people. But I'm not surprised, because look who he's got the ear of. He's got the pedo administration, right? Like, I shouldn't say it because YouTube's gonna probably, do something about that. But it's fucking true, man. I don't know. We have to say what is that? We have to say like PDF files, But it's true. It is what it is, and like, fucking disgusting, man. Disgusting. Arranging marriages, probably very young women. I don't know her age. Man. I'm a father of a daughter. Maybe there is still some rage.
When someone, one of the things that people don't realize is what pastors actually have to deal with. Pastors are helping people.
On homosexuality, the Bible talked about stoning as punishment.
Right.
Would you endorse punishing someone who is gay in the America you want to be living in?
This brings up another old controversy. King Asa in Israel and King Jehoshaphat, both in modern parlance, they both closed the bathhouses. They shut it down. And they exiled, they said, all done with that, and exiling homosexuals. And the scripture praises both men for doing that, which means that the requirement for the death penalty that does exist in Leviticus, that requirement was not a minimum penalty, but was a maximum penalty, because scripture praises the kings who didn't execute the homosexuals. They just shut the orgy down. They just shut the party down. So there is latitude in the application of biblical law. There is latitude in how it's applied from scripture itself.
So, but bottom line, do you see?
He didn't answer the question, and he just stumbled with some bullshit scripture. So essentially, yeah.
Any America and the America you want to be living in where homosexuals are punished?
I think that
because they've decided that they're, they want to live freely as a gay person.
Yeah, I would say, yeah. But that
punished how?
When I first began ministering,
this guy has the ears of the president. And this is why I think they're coming after the women's vote. I think they're coming after gay people. You hear him. Yes. Yeah, punish gay people. We have to stand firm in our allyship. We have to stand firm in our activism for human rights. We have to stand firm in the face of power, even if it means our own freedom. That's where we are coming to. That's where we are at right now. They go to his church. They're listening to what he's saying.
Just so you understand how the Overton window is moved. When I first began ministering as a Christian minister,
exactly,
I was grown,
exactly.
An adult,
he's obfuscating. He's like and I led with it. Like, he knows he's on CNN. he knows it's being reported, what's being said in his church and what's being done in his church. Pete Hegseth goes there. A lot of Trump admin goes there. I think, I could be wrong, a couple of Trump's sons have went there. So yeah, he's I can't say the word. I got these like big ass fucking lips that don't like to say that certain words, and that's one of them. But you said it, and you said it perfectly.
Preaching the gospel. Sodomy was a felony in all 50 states. All 50. Now I didn't begin.
And the Supreme Court, I know, stepped in and overturned that because
no, my point, yeah.
There was the Lawrence ruling.
Correct.
And the Supreme Court said that.
Yeah, the whole thing. We are where we are now. My point is that when I began ministering in 1977, in the late 70s and early 80s, and sodomy was a felony in all 50 states, that America of that day was not a totalitarian hellhole.
So you would like America to go back to that?
Yep.
And someone watching this might be like,
He
you want to
doesn't
control
fucking hide
behavior in the bedroom?
Matt Powell is creaming in his pants right now. This is like Matt Powell's fucking wet dream. This is like, God damn, where are we at? Where are we at in this country? Where are we at in this fucking country, man?
Chevy makes America's most dependable trucks.
God, like, you know, and we were smug, and we were arrogant in our victories. You know, we thought we had won these battles, and when we did not. And people used to get on my fucking shit for saying that we did not, for saying that this was so close, that we were so close to this. Like, I remember, I'm old enough to remember when Knock used to say we were so close to this shit, and everybody's like, nah, dog, you're going too far. No, we are here now. We are here. God damn it. All right.
And people like to say that liberals don't care what you do in your bedroom, but the state had opinions about how thick the sheetrock had to be in the bedroom, how far apart the sheetrock screws had to be, how big the window had to be for egress, and whether or not I could take the mattress off the tag. What do you mean the government doesn't care what happens in the bedroom? They regulate.
And that goes to your sort of libertarian.
That's exactly it.
Your libertarian tendencies. But it sounds like, I mean, what your vision is.
And I fucking hate that libertarian. This dude ain't no fucking libertarian. I don't understand how a single libertarian, I haven't heard a single fucking libertarian bitching to Donald Trump or about Donald Trump's big government ass deployment of federal troops in United States cities. I haven't seen heard a fucking peep from the Second Amendment tyrant alarmist that I have grown up my entire life fucking hearing from. Like, fuck your libertarian.
From the writings of like R.J. Rushdoony, you know, who is a Christian Reconstructionist. Would you call yourself a Christian Reconstructionist?
Maybe small r Reconstruction. I was never a card-carrying member of that, but I read Rushdoony and I read Gary North and I read Bonson and learned an awful lot from them, but I never signed off on the entire project. But
Why? What part did you not sign off on?
Oh, they were kind of an ornery lot and fighting with each other a lot, and I think some of the applications of Old Testament law.
I'm not sure who he's talking about right now. I need to really look into that. But it pretty much sounds like he doesn't have a problem with whatever the fuck they were doing. He just has a problem that they fought with each other a lot. So like he wants to do what they were doing, whatever the fuck that was, and do it without that. That's what it sounds like to me. But I need to look into that because I have no idea what that is.
We're too wooden. Yeah. So I think that you have to budget for the fact that Christ
here. What's up, Misty
came
Day,
and transformed the world.
Stop this for a second. We'll go back a little bit because I think we missed a little bit with the last ad. We'll say hello to the chat. What's going on, guys? Yeah, Maya and Misty Day, and we got Jill. What's up, Jill? Running into you for a second day in a row. You was in the side chat of Missing Mod's channel yesterday, and I see that you're still being the very white man that you are. Good to see you, my old nemesis.
Oh, they were kind of an ornery lot and fighting with each other a lot, and I think some of the applications of Old Testament law were too wooden. Yeah. So I think that you have to budget for the fact that Christ came and transformed the world. So when Christ died, the Old Testament law was crucified with him, and the Old Testament law rose again from the dead with him, but rose again transformed.
And the family, the church, and the civil government buckets, where does the poor fit in helping the poor and the needy and the most vulnerable? Would that be up to the church or the civil government?
It'd be up to families and the church, and I would say as a final safety net, the civil government.
Okay. Because I know R.J. Rushdoony, in many ways, he thought the church should
no social
take
programs, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, in the final thing, civil government. But yeah, no social programs. No. He wants his Christians poor, and he wants them meek and under his control.
Yes, but for example, in the Old Testament, the civil government, the gleaning laws, for example, where you left part of your field for the poor to glean and get sustenance. That's the sort of thing that the civil government could say, we want you to do that.
And you basically see things.
You know, Jill, I'm not sure if you want to be here right now, or if you really want to, like, you know, I'm a different monster now. See, I'm sober. I'm gonna be different with you. I don't think you want no part of me anymore. Honestly, if I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm just gonna put that out there. You know, but as a Taoist, I have found a certain peace within myself that I think you'll find offsetting. I need to find out what's going on downstairs. I'm hearing stuff through my headphones that I shouldn't be hearing. Why don't you guys give me a second? I'm going to throw this screen on here. We're not done with this stream. I'll be right back. Sorry. I was hearing stuff through my headphones, but all right. It makes sense. All right. Just one more second. Gosh. I don't even remember what the fuck I was talking about. Oh, Jill. Yeah, you don't want no piece of me, bro. You don't want no piece of me.
The civil government should stay out of the business of the family unit that you see as its own sort of enterprise.
The family is the ministry of health, education, and welfare. The church is the ministry of grace and peace, or the ministry of word and sacrament. And the civil government is the ministry of justice.
Do you still believe what you said back in the 90s, that there's a mutual affection between master and slave?
Yeah. Well, yes, it depends on which master and which slave you're talking about. Slavery was overseen and conducted by fallen human beings, and there were horrendous abuses, and there were also people who owned slaves who were decent human beings and didn't mistreat them.
But do you think by even saying that, that's minimizing the just sheer barbarity and brutality of using human beings based on the color of their skin as property?
Yeah, I think that system.
We gotta fucking listen to that shit again, because like all that shit happened at the wrong fucking time. Yeah, we are talking, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I think they're coming for civil rights as well.
And you basically think the civil government...
I don't really see how this isn't like top of the news cycle, right? Like this should be fucking scary to everybody.
...should stay out of the business of the family unit that you see as its own sort of enterprise.
The family is the ministry of health, education, and welfare. The church is the ministry of grace and peace, or the ministry of word and sacrament, and the civil government is the ministry of justice.
Do you still believe what you said back in the 90s, that there's a mutual affection between master and slave?
Yeah. Well, yes, it depends on which master and which slave you're talking about. Slavery was overseen and conducted by fallen human beings, and there were horrendous abuses, and there were also people who owned slaves who were decent human beings and didn't mistreat them.
But do you think by even saying that, that's minimizing the just sheer barbarity and brutality of using human beings based on the color of their skin as property?
Yeah, I think that system of chattel slavery was an unbiblical system, and I'm grateful it's gone.
I'm not satisfied with that. I'm not satisfied with that. That sounded scary as fuck. Oh, God. Chills in his fucking side chat. So, not chattel slavery, but slavery. What the fuck are we even talking about? What the fuck are we even talking about? I don't know. Scary shit. One thing we are talking about, though, is we've got to be solid in our advocacy for human rights, and we've got to be solid in our allyship to our brothers and sisters all across this nation. We've got to find solidarity. We've got to come together as liberals and leftists and fucking what they call rhino Republicans, as much as I hate to say it, at least to defeat this fascism. We've got to figure it out, and we've got to figure it out really fucking quickly, because they ain't fucking around. Scary shit. Scary shit. Very, 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 very scary shit. And that's the level of my great analysis for this day. I've been streaming for a while. I do want to kind of try to see how everything sounds, if I'm having any lag issues, at least through the playthroughs. And yeah, let people know I'm back. I'm sober. I'm trying to figure out. I saw, Maya, that you commented that I finally came to the bright side, and yeah, I'm definitely into the philosophy of Taoism, philosophical Buddhism. I don't believe in a God, but I don't know that there's not a God. And I don't know any of the mysteries of the universe that I can't possibly know. So with that knowledge in hand, I have to change my entire philosophy that I've had for the past, 15, 20 years. As what I think was a fairly staunch atheist. Whatever you want, pretty high on that Dawkins scale. That being said, that doesn't change too much of my positions when it comes to human imaginings of God. And definitely not this bullshit. So, yeah, let people know I'm back, I'm sober. I'm going to try to do this thing right. I'm going to try to slowly, I am a poor person, add the programming I need to edit videos again and do all the things that I used to be able to do. I really need to update my computer. My computer is old. I'm going to see what I can do to make this computer run better until I can get a new computer, which should be in, hopefully 4 or 5 months tops, because I am seeing probably going to be a priority. So with all that being said, I have to leave you sitting with what we just covered. I can't believe, so I've seen a couple of people talking about it. I can't really believe, but maybe a lot of people in the atheist hemisphere anyway is talking about it, because I've been really plugged out. Again, I'm going to let people know, like, I can't remember channels. Like, I really completely unplugged from pretty much everything outside of watching, like, corny ass YouTube reactions to movies and shit on YouTube. So, like, I have a few channels still. I really fucked with my algorithm. It doesn't feed me anything. So, drop me some channels. I know about like the really, really big ones, but like even if we've been buddies for a while and you had a small channel, I probably don't quite remember the name of it. So if you want me to know your channel, if you want me to be aware of your channel, and if you do live streams, I'd really like, because live streams in the afternoon, I'm really looking for to join conversations again and flesh out my own philosophies now when it comes to these things with my fellow non-believers and the Abrahamic bullshit. So yeah, it's going to be interesting getting back into this. I'm excited to do it. I can't wait till I can do it a little better than I can do now. And I find myself oddly unfamiliar with my OBS, and I don't know. I would like to update and make a better presentation of everything than I ever did before. But Knock is back. I don't think it'll be Knock TV forever, but we'll see. Yeah. Peace.